All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. I'm your host, as always, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down two regional cards, LFA 155, and we're going to be breaking down PFL Europe. I had a bunch of shows last week, but it feels like I haven't done a stream in like weeks, so hopefully we can get into it. I'm going to try to run through these cards. I didn't have the time to go in depth with notes, but I did go in depth in terms of just watching and taping it on and just not writing things down. Normally, I try to have charts and whatnot, but couldn't do it this week. There's just too much stuff going on with regionals, with my life, and with UFC. Going to do a show tomorrow for UFC at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time with Liam from Liam Picks Fights and Big Steve. Sorry. Oh my God. My freaking mic cannot stand still. Hopefully it does now, but sorry about that. And yeah, that's going to be tomorrow. And then as usual, prop talk on Friday with MMA Propaholic, where we're just going to break down UFC San Antonio from a prop perspective. So without further ado, let's hop into this card. Not going to do the first three LFA fights just because two of them are really big favorites. All these guys don't have many fights, and there's not really much tape on any of these dudes, so we're going to skip those. This one, Gavin Teasdale versus Shad Walters. You got Teasdale, 0-1-0, 24 years old, 5'5" with a 66-inch reach. On the other side, Walters making his pro debut, 28. He's 4 years older, 1 inch taller. Gavin Teasdale, he's a pretty credentialed wrestler. He's pretty good at it. His striking is questionable. His striking defense is pretty questionable, and he can actually be taken down himself. He's very green still, but I do think that wrestling is a really good weapon. Walters on the other side, he's going to be the better striker, in my opinion. He does have some decent wrestling of his own, but he can also be out grappled. So for me, this is a bit too low level. We don't have a line yet on this one. My initial lean is going to be Teasdale. I think he's going to get better and better at using that wrestling in an MMA in MMA. And I don't love Walters all that much myself. I do think he's going to be the better striker, though. And if Teasdale can't get the wrestling off, I do think Walters should win. But my lean is going to be Teasdale. No bet. There's no line yet. And we're going to move on. So for the next fight, we got Liam Anderson versus Kohlman Scribner. Let me move closer. Anderson, 3-2-0. He's 28 years old, 6'3", don't have his reach. Scribner on the other side, he's 3-2-0, 27 years old, so he's 1 year younger, 3 inches shorter, and not much to say here. Also, very little tape on both guys. Liam Anderson seems like a good striker, but he's fighting pretty good grapplers. He's getting out grappled. That's his weakness. But Scribner's not a really good grappler himself. I believe Liam Anderson is currently a minus 150 favorite, something like that. Let me double check. Minus 400 favorite. And yeah, he's the better striker as long as he can keep it on the feet. If Scribner even shoots, he should outstrike Scribner, probably finish him. But nothing from me here. I'm not putting minus 400 on either of these guys. And we'll move on. Here we've got Rodney Kealohi versus Alvaro Prado. Kealohi, he's 5'3" 5'6" with a 68-inch reach. And he's actually at Extreme Couture. Prado, 5'2" he's going to be 25 years old, 1 inch taller, 2 inch reach advantage. Roca top team for him. You know, this guy Alvaro Prado, he's not very good. He's fought mostly on the Bolivian scene. He did have a LFA fight against Cody Davis, who we're going to talk about later. Got out grappled. I believe it was Cody Davis. Let me double check. Fact check myself real quick. Yeah, it was Cody Davis. And, you know, you can't really take too much from that fight because Davis is really good. So, but the thing is, even in the fights prior, I don't love what Prado does. He can grapple, he can strike, but he doesn't do either particularly well. Kealohi, his record, you know, it's pretty ugly, but his last fight, I believe, was Clayton Carpenter, got knocked out by him. And Carpenter's a stud now in the UFC. Fight before that, he fought Mark Camacho, another stud guy. He's a really good wrestler. I don't expect Prado to be able to grapple him like Camacho did. And on the feet, I do favor Rodney Kealohi. I think he's going to be the better striker, have more power, faster hands. So he's the pick. But again, as the theme with most of this card, he's minus 365. It's not really playable. So I'll have him in my long shot lottery ticket parlay. but not going to bet on him otherwise at that price. All right. It seems like I might be lagging, guys. So if that's the case, I apologize. My Wi-Fi is questionable at best, even though I pay for really good ones. Good one. And all right, for this fight, we've got Joe Taylor versus Ben Parrish. Taylor's 4-0, undefeated. He's 38 years old, 5'11", and I'm gonna go with Tapology, WNY MMA and Fitness. Parrish 5-2-0. He's gonna be 8 years younger, 1 inch taller, 73-inch reach. Doom crew for him. Not touching this fight. Joe Taylor doesn't fight in MMA very often. Oh, I don't know what that was. He's relatively inactive. He's a kickboxer, but he's not some high-level kickboxer. Parrish, I think he kind of sucks. His claim to fame is just that knockout over Edwards in Bellator. And after that, like, that was a lucky shot, man. And after that, for some reason, he was like a decent, not like a huge underdog to Sullivan Colleen. Got destroyed there, but Taylor's not going to wrestle like Colleen. That said, I think he's a better striker. He's got that kickboxing. He should probably knock out Parrish, who's not very good, but Parrish got that dog in him. Joe Taylor doesn't fight often, so I wouldn't touch this price. Minus 200 on Taylor, and I don't want to back Parrish, who I don't think is very good, but I've got a bet here. For this fight, we've got Rafael Barbosa versus Mairon Santos. Barbosa, he's 25 years old, 14-4-0, 6 feet tall with a 72-inch reach. On the other side with Santos, he's 12-1-0, 3 years younger. He's 22, super young, 5'9". He's giving up 3 inches in height, and they've got the same reach. So Mairon Santos, he was supposed to have a bunch of fights in the LFA. They've been canceled, I think like 2 in a row, something like that. Before that, he fought Dan Argueta, got absolutely smoked in the wrestling. And before that, he had a few fights that we don't have tape on. Then there's an Aries FC one from 2019. Long story short, he's a Muay Thai guy, very flat-footed, not much output. He's a good striker, but nothing crazy. He can wrestle, but also nothing crazy, and his takedown defense is all right. Barbosa, he's going to be much bigger here. I do think that reach is probably going to be more than it says. I think he is going to have a reach advantage. He's the longer guy for sure. He is taller by 3 inches. He can use that length. He's a very solid striker. Striking defense isn't the best, but I don't really see him getting knocked out here by Santos. I think that overall he'll have the better striking, the better output, and he can wrestle too. So if anything, I see him finding more success in the grappling. So I actually went ahead and I bet Barbosa at minus 115. Put 1 unit on it, missed the best of the line. He opened up at plus 160, but money quickly came in on him. And I understand why. So I'm on Barbosa. Think he's going to outstrike Santos. And if any grappling happens, I think he'll have the edge. And we'll move on. Here we've got a really fun fight. We've got Cody Davis versus Joseph Camacho. Davis is 6-1-0. He's 28 years old, 5'3" with a 66.5-inch reach. California MMA for him. Camacho 5-0. Don't have his age, but I'm pretty sure he's also relatively young. 5'5". He's 2 inches taller. Going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. Spike 22 is what Tapology says. I don't remember if I double checked his gym. And yeah, this is a really good fight, but I like Cody Davis here. He's a really hefty favorite now, and I do understand why. Camacho, he can be out-grappled. He is a very solid striker, but the takedown defense is, questionable. He got out-grappled in his last fight, even though he ended up winning. I believe it was Alfonso Leyva, if I remember correctly, who's pretty good too. So it's not like a bad loss at all. I'm sorry. I completely got mixed up. Aiden Correa. But the guy's also pretty good grappler. So not the worst loss, not the worst thing to get out-grappled by him. But I do think that Cody Davis will have the wrestling success here. I think very highly of Cody Davis, and I think his striking is really good too. Maybe not really good, but I think it's pretty good too. So give me Cody Davis here. Can't play him at minus 300. I did hit him at the opener, which was actually minus 115, believe it or not. Even though that's not what it says on Bet Online, but I got it. Not going to track it, obviously, but I did end up getting him cheap, but minus 300, I wouldn't play it because Camacho is pretty good, but I do think Cody Davis wins this one. This is a fight that I spent a lot of time on and couldn't really get it to a bet, but really tempted. I've got Adam Assenza here versus Yemi Oduwole. Assenza, he's 16-7-0, 35 years old, 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. Burlington Academy of Martial Arts for him. Yemi, he's 9-4-0, 32 years old. He's 3 years younger, going to be 2 inches taller, 4-inch reach advantage. And he's training out of Knuckle Up Fitness is what I've got. I know in Atlanta, he trains under a pretty good BJJ gym, and he does have a purple belt. He's pretty good, apparently, on the ground. And yeah, I think this is a tough fight to break down. I lean to Senza because he has a good pace. He has good wrestling. His striking is decent. My issue with him is his striking defense. The way he kind of leans his head, the way he'll really wing his strikes sometimes. Don't love it. I think he's good in the pocket. Like I mentioned, his wrestling I really like, but I'm concerned about the striking defense. Yemi, pretty good striker. He's not some top-notch striker himself. Got knocked out in his last fight, but I don't really see Assenza knocking him out. And he can grapple too. I don't think he's got the same wrestling as Assenza, but maybe he can use that purple belt to sweep. We'll have to see. But if he can keep it on the feet, I do lean him with the striking here. I'm going to try to tape this a little more after I finish with UFC. If the line is still there with Assenza, maybe I'll take a shot. I do think the pace is going to pull it out for him, but I'm hesitant just because I'm concerned about the striking. But Yemi, he's a big guy. If he can't make weight well, like he missed weight by 3 pounds in his last fight. He weighed in at 158 pounds. If he doesn't have the cardio he needs, I think Assenza can outwork him and finish him late. So my pick is Assenza. The line currently, he's minus 110. I'm tempted, but as of now, I haven't played it. Remember to follow me at Couch Warrior Pod on Twitter. That's where I post all my bets. And we'll move on to the next fight. Not going to spend much time here. We got Ashley Nichols versus Jamie Colleen Miller. Nichols is 4-4-0, 36 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach, training out of Niagara Top Team. Miller, 5-4-0. She's 1 year older at 37. She's going to be 4 inches shorter at 5'3", giving up 3 inches in reach. And she trains out of Renzo Gracie Phillip, which is pretty good. And I actually think this is going to be a pretty close fight. Ashley Nichols is a striker. Her grappling isn't that great. Takedown defense isn't that great. Both women were out grappled in their last fights. Both of them are probably better strikers than they are grapplers, but I'm actually kind of leaning Miller. I think she can hang on the feet. I don't really rate Nichols all that much on the feet, even though that's her thing. I just don't think it's that great, but neither is Miller, honestly. I think it's going to be close. I think Miller can grapple. I give her the grappling edge here, and she is the underdog at plus 170. We'll see what happens with the line. If money keeps coming in on Nichols, maybe I'll retape it and maybe I'll take a shot on Miller, but not going to spend too much time there. For our co-main event of the evening, we've got Solomon Renfro versus Glaucio Eliziario. Renfro, 10-3-0. He's 26 years old, 5'9" with the 72.5-inch reach. On the other side, you got Eliziario. He's 10-7-0, 35 years old. He's going to be 9 years older, 1 inch shorter, and he's given up 2.5 inches in reach. So look, Eliziario, he's not very good. He's on the older side. His claim to fame really... Hey, cut it out. Cut it out. Sorry, my dog. His claim to fame really is beating Will Starks, and Will Starks was just really off there. Doesn't do anything really particularly well. And Solomon Renfro, he's had a few setbacks that have kept him from the UFC. But, Adam Fugit was one of them who ended up being half decent. The other one was Mike Mallet, and then he lost to... always forget his freaking name, but on the Contender Series in a pretty close fight. So, I mean, I think Renfro's going to dominate here. He can grapple. He can strike. He's got crazy power. His cardio holds up for a guy with so much power and who swings so hard. So I do think Renfro runs through him. I mean, there's not really much to say here. I think they're finally giving him somebody that he should be able to beat. I mean, he won his last two, as you can see, Michael Ortiz. Before that, James Cannon. Then he lost to Fugit, like I mentioned, Parsons on the Contender Series. So, yeah, I think he should be able to beat Eliziario. I think he can grapple, but on the feet, I think is all he needs. It's all he needs. So we'll move on to our main event here. It's a good one. We've got Rafael do Nascimento versus Jerrell Hodge. Nascimento, he's 8-1-0, 5'7" with a 70-inch reach, training out of X Gym. Hodge, he's 9-3-0. He's 33 years old, 5'7" as well. Don't have his reach. Aries Combat Sports Academy for him. Should be a decent fight. Nascimento, his last 2 fights he won as a really big underdog. The first one, I believe, was Wetzel, who he got out grappled in the first round, got outstruck, in my opinion, and then got a knockout in the second. And then the one before that was, damn, what's his name? I always blank on it. Let me pull it up. Marcus McGee, who's a pretty good fighter himself, and he was able to take him down, take his back, and finish him on the ground. So 2 big upsets. But I don't think he's that terribly good. Like he can strike, he can grapple, but nothing really special. But the same kind of goes for Hodge. Like both guys can strike, both guys can wrestle. I guess I'm gonna give the striking to Nascimento, and I guess I'll give the grappling to Nascimento, but should be a close fight. He is my lean. He's beaten the better guys. He's -135. I think that's a decent price. He opened -500, believe it or not. I think the underdog money +375 early on Hodge, all right. But now, I don't know how I feel about the Hodge side. Yeah, I like Nascimento, but I'm not going to really get invested in this one, I don't think. Zachary, what's up, brother? Thanks for tuning in. Didn't Hodge get knocked out 2 weeks ago? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Oh, in boxing, he sure did in 1 round. Yeah, not in MMA. He hasn't fought since 21. But yeah, he's also spending his time boxing. I have to think that Nascimento is going to pull this one out. Maybe I will get to it at this price. I'll have to retape it a little bit more. I've done literally 3 cards today, and it's been a lot. And I still have to do UFC and go live tomorrow. So a lot of fights to break down. So I'm pulling up the next card right now. This one's going to be PFL Europe. And it's honestly a pretty crap card, if you ask me. All right, so for the first fight, we've got Lewis Monarch versus Oscar Ownsworth. Monarch, he's 12-6-0. Don't have his age, 5'11", training out of TFT MMA Team Fish Tank. Ownsworth, 6'2-1. Don't have much info on him at all, but he is a longer guy. 5 foot. I don't know if he's taller than 5'11", maybe somewhere close. 6-hound. Any bets? I haven't gone over PFL yet. Doing it right now and actually about to give a bet. But for LFA, I've only got, what was it? I've got Rafael Barbosa at -115 for a unit. I'm tempted on Assenza and I'm tempted on Nascimento, but nothing yet for me. And is it true PFL has the worst judging? Might be worth staying away from the close fight. I'll be honest with you guys. Judges are usually not based on promotion. They're based on where the fights are on the commission. So I don't think it's going to be some kind of brand new or different judges every time. I don't think they have their own unique judges. So I think the thing with PFL, that's like my best promotion. I've got a 34% ROI there. I'm proud of it because I suck at Bellator for some reason. But I think too many people kind of just hammer these favorites, and something happens with PFL where the favorites are just too wide. I don't know what it is, but the underdog's always a great look in PFL. So I don't know. I don't think it's really because of PFL having like worse judging than other promotions. But anyways, for this first fight, Lewis Monarch versus Ownsworth. I like Monarch, and I did play him at -115 for 1 unit. He's fought the better competition. He's definitely got the grappling upside. You look at Ownsworth, he's getting taken down. He doesn't have great takedown defense. He's got a pretty good get-up game, and his striking is good. I'll say that, but I think Monarch can strike too, and I think the grappling is what's going to get the job done for him. So I did back him at -115 for 1 unit, and we're going to move on. This one, I'm going to run through it because there's no tape on Sam Robinson. Lewis Lee Scott seems to be the prospect, 23 years old. He's a pretty good striker. Probably the side, he's -350, I think, something like that. Let me double check. but not really gonna. Minus 525 now. Yeah, I mean there's nothing to do with that. Not going to talk about this one either. Evans is I think he's minus 1,000, probably rightfully so. All right, this is a close fight. We've got Lizzy Gevers versus Valentina Skititsi. Gevers 2-0 undefeated. She's 28 years old, 5'5", and Gracie Barra Os is what we've got for the gym. Skititsi 1-1-0. Don't have her age, but she's pretty young, I'm pretty sure. She's 1 inch shorter. American top team Rome for her. Not positive if she's related to the Skititsi who fights in Bellator, but she fights similar. Her striking isn't great, but she can grapple, she can wrestle. Same kind of goes for Lizzy Gevers. I'm a little bit confused with her because as a pro, her grappling looks actually pretty good. She seems to be a better striker, but she can grapple too. The thing is, as an amateur, she was getting out grappled by some people who weren't very good. And that wasn't a long time ago. That was 2021. So she's improved, definitely. But there's a question mark in my head, and that's kind of what's keeping me from her because she's minus 115 now. Believe she opened up as a heavy favorite. I'm pulling it up right now. Minus 480 is where she opened up, and I'm really tempted to get to her because Skititsi can be taken down as well, but she can wrestle too. So it's really hard to judge with this level of competition who's the better wrestler, and that's really all it comes down to. Gevers is the better striker, so if we neutral out the wrestling, cancel that out, Gevers, I think, has an edge, but it's really difficult with this little information and this level of competition. But I'm extremely tempted on Gevers. I do think she wins. That's going to be my pick, but no play as of now. This is a fight that just got added, I think, today, or at least got added to Tapology today. We've got Abdella Er-Ramy versus Madeline Pervalescu. It's another fight where we've got really little information. I mean, on Er-Ramy, there's literally just a highlight reel. Pervalescu, there's just a bit of tape. Ramy, 6-1-0, 26 years old. He's 6 feet tall. Lilius Barnett Martial Arts is the gym for him. Pervalescu, 5-1-0. He's going to be 1 year older, 1 inch shorter, 71-inch reach. Sharks Gym Constantana for him. I don't know. I mean, I can't really say anything. Er-Ramy, like I said, we just have a highlight reel video. He's got pretty good striking, it seems, but that's really all I see. And Madeline Pervalescu fights with pressure, decent striking. Really can't say anything here. Can't give a pick. There's nothing to work with. Cornelia Holm versus Marta Walasek. Holm is 5-5-0. She's 34 years old. 5'5" with a 67.7-inch reach. GBG MMA for her. Walasek, 6'5-0. 35 years old. She's 1 year older. 2 inches taller. Same reach. Berserkers team Bielsko Biala for her. And I think the line's a little bit off here. I was tempted on Holm at this plus 215 price, but I don't think I'll end up getting there. She's not a very good striker, and her thing is wrestling, as far as I can tell. And I don't think she's a very good wrestler. Hold on. I think I'm going to sneeze. I lost it. That's the worst. Okay. So Holm, decent grappling, not a very good striker. Walasek, good striking, not a very good grappler. But she's gotten her own takedowns. She's not getting out controlled too much. She's going to be the better striker. I don't rate Holm too much. Give me Walasek, but I wouldn't touch her at this price tag. I do think that Holm has a path with the grappling, and if she finds success, she's not going to look like a plus 215 underdog. All right, this one we're not going to waste too much time on. Anthony Salomon versus Daniel Ladero. Salomon, 7-1-0, 27 years old, 6 feet tall with a 73-inch reach. Ladero, 3-1-0. Don't have his age, don't have any of his measurables. He's a very high-level BJJ guy. He's got all kinds of credentials, but it's not a very good MMA fighter. He's submitting guys who aren't good, but if he can't submit you, that's it. He doesn't have any striking. His wrestling's not amazing. It's just not very good. Salomon, I don't have much tape to work with. He's not like his fight against Will Fleury. I'm not really sure what he did well, if he did anything well. Seems just like an okay fighter, but if he doesn't get submitted, he's going to have the better striking. He's going to have the better cardio. Should win this fight, but I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pull. Maybe if they give us props here, maybe Ladero by submission, but that's really it. I wouldn't touch this, really. All right. Here we've got Greet Eckhout versus Mafalda Carmona. Eckhout is 6'4" she's 5'3". Red Kings for her gym. Carmona 4'2" 5'6". She's 3 inches taller. So I kind of like the underdog here. Greet Eckhout, her last fight, she fought someone who was not very good at all. Yeah, her wrestling worked, but I don't think her wrestling is that good, and that's like her thing. And then before that in Bellator, she fought what's her face, who's horrible now in the UFC, Mandy Bohm. Bohm got her down in the first round. Bohm completely outstruck her, beat her up in the clinch. I don't think very highly of Eckhout. Carmona, she's not some stud herself. She can be out grappled, but she can grapple too. Her wrestling isn't terrible, and I think she's going to be the better striker. She's got the size here, so I'm actually leaning with the dog. I might get to a play. It's a little bit low level for me, so I might stay off of it. But the pick is Carmona, and I might get to a bet there. No odds here. Neto was originally supposed to fight an absolute bum, and I think his name is Jacob Berg. And was it Jacob Berg? Kenneth Berg. Dude is terrible. But now he's got a new opponent, Ricardo Nasiglia versus Jacob Neto. Nasiglia 8-3-0, 33 years old, 6'1". Padova top team for him. Neto 5-1-0, 6'4". He's 3 inches taller. TNT gym for him. Nasiglia isn't very good, not very active. Got knocked out by Modestas Bukauskas. Fight after that, he got knocked out by what's his name? Fights in PFL now. Huge guy's not very good. Let me double check. Victor Pesta. Just not a very good fighter. I don't rate Neto that highly either, but he's definitely the prospect here. He's probably going to have the striking edge. Not probably. I really think he has the striking edge. And neither guy's a huge grappler. Maybe I'll give it to Neto. I don't want to bet this. I bet you that Neto will be a heavy favorite. We'll have to see. I mean, if he's not, he's definitely the side. I do think he's the better fighter. He's a younger guy, but can't really do anything without odds yet. So we'll move on to the next fight. Our co-main event of the evening, we've got Dakota Dacheva versus Malin Hermanson. I'm not going to waste my time here. Dacheva is going to win this fight, probably ITD. I don't know about the method. Going to check out the props once they come out, but there's really not much to talk about. I wouldn't parlay her at -900 just because it's not going to do anything for you, and it's MMA. Who knows what's going to happen, but she should definitely win. And I'm not going to waste too much time on this one either. Simeon Powell versus Muhammad Amine. Powell 7-0 undefeated. He's 24 years old. 6'5" with an 85-inch reach, training out of Great Britain top team. On the other side, you've got Muhammad Amine, 5-1-0. He's 2 years older, 1 inch shorter. Jim Harlem for him. And I want to pull up their records real quick because I'm trying to remember who it was for Powell. I think it was Clinton Williams that Powell fought, where he actually struggled a little bit with Williams, and Williams is not good. 9-6-0 right now. He's 39 years old, so not a great look, but overall, he's a prospect for a reason. He's a heavy favorite for a reason. He's a really good striker. He can grapple well too. His takedown defense, like I mentioned, it could be questionable. Fight IQ can be questionable, but he's a really good fighter. He's well-rounded. And on the other side, Amine, he's not fighting anyone really good. He can be out-grappled himself. I definitely think Powell can wrestle here if he wants to. And I think Powell's going to have the striking here too. Amine a bit hittable for my taste. So give me Powell. Maybe Powell ITD if they give us props on it, but -500. Just in the lottery ticket parlay, and that's it. So that's it, guys. That's 2 cards. Once they put out the Cage Warriors lines, I'll probably put out a video just because I've already taped it. But just to recap for anybody tuning in now, the only plays I have as of right now for LFA, I have Rafael Barbosa 1 unit at -115. I'm looking at Adam Assenza and Don Nascimento. For PFL Europe, I only have Lewis Monarch right now, -115, 1 unit. I'm looking at Lizzy Gevers. I'm looking at Mafalda Carmona and maybe ITD props for Dacheva and Powell, but that's going to be it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck with all your bets. Make sure to tune into my UFC breakdown tomorrow with Liam Picks Fights and Big Steve. And yeah, thank you guys. Have a good night and good luck with your bets once again.